Today we have leaves and ladybugs and dewdrops. I have pre-prepped some extra long coffin nails and let's get started. Starting off with this base green on most of them. You guys, I just nearly had a panic attack here. I went to turn my computer on to do the voiceover for this and it wouldn't come on. And I was like, oh no, I can't deal with this. I got my son in here and he fiddled around with it for a while and was able to get it on. So I think she's getting ready to crap out on me. It's already bad enough. I can't turn it off, the power off, otherwise I knew it wouldn't come on. So we just leave it plugged in and just close the lid all the time. It's a laptop, but I guess I'm going to have to start worrying about that now. Okay, we're going to cure those. Moving on to the other kind of leaves. I'm going to use an ombre brush. We're using most of it's going to be this gel polish, which is Clou Beaute, I believe. Of course, I'm sure I'm murdering that, as I am not good with other languages and I stink at them. But we're going to just dot on this lightest green, mostly all over the nail. And then we're gonna add a little more apparently. Okay, then we're going to add just a little bit of the yellow. I just wanted a few little spots where there was yellow. Okay, that's a little more probably than I needed, and then we're just going to use the ombre brush and we are just going to brush this out. I was trying to think where I was going to make the vein line of the leaf on this, so I was kind of brushing out from the center of where that was going to be. Although it really didn't matter for this design. I don't know what I was thinking, but we're just going to brush this out. Try not to brush over it a whole lot, because then you're going to get, it's going to muddy together. But essentially we want to have these two colors on here sort of kind of mixed together, but not fully. And we need to make sure the whole nail is fully covered. So that's all we're doing here. We are going to need a second coat of this, which you'll see shortly. Now I had taken some, I searched for leaf images that were very close up to get the ideas of coloring and whatnot that I was going to do on these leaves, because you won't see a full entire leaf. Now we're going to do the other one on that hand. Now this one I got carried away and put way too much polish on here, and you'll see it gets muddied up kind of quickly. I wanted the whole set to look like you were in your garden and you were taking a magnifying glass and looking at the ladybugs on the leaves, and that's why it's so close up. So you're not seeing the full leaf per se, you're just seeing a portion of it. Now see, I didn't wipe my brush off either after that first one, so now I've got a mass amount of polish on there, and it's just kind of muddying together because it's too much. So make sure if you're going to do this technique, you wipe your brush off in between. Plus, on top of that, as I said, I got way too much polish on here than I needed. And once I'm done playing around with this one, we will cure these, and then we're going to go in with the second coat on just these yellow green ones. Okay, those have been cured, and here comes coat number 2. We're going to do the exact same thing. Just try to dab your polish on in the same kind of general place that you did the first time. And I was going to say something and it just completely went out of my head. Oh well, must not have been that important. like fully blending these together like it as it was an ombre. We're not doing that. We're just brushing it in. The picture for these particular leaves were kind of not stripy, but they were kind of yellow and green. I don't know what kind of plant it was. But I've got the colors matching good. I just, I don't know, was not super crazy about some of the leaves. But, and the other one, I'll have sped these up, believe it or not, on this second coat. And you can see by my gloves where there's green everywhere on there. That's why I wear gloves. Otherwise, that would have been on my hands. And I would have had a big breakout. For some reason, I did get a breakout this time, and I don't really know how I managed it. Because I had gloves on for all of this, so I do not know how I managed to get it on my hands. Somehow I did. Okay, those are done. Moving on to the darker green ones now that we started with. We're going to give them a coat of blooming gel. Now, when I started this, I was not sure that this was actually going to work, but it came out okay. There's one thing I would have changed, and I would have to, if I do them again, I would do that a little different, but I'll get to that in a minute. For the main line where the main leaf vein is going to go, I'm going to use this darker green, and I'm just going to paint a line of this on where I want the main leaf vein to be, and let it bloom out from there. This will just give it kind of a little bit of a shadow in the leaf vein area. You know, in hindsight, I kind of should have done the side vein parts with this darker too, but I didn't think of it at the time. Okay, now we're going to move on to around the edges of the leaf. I wanted it to be lighter. Now this color I chose, okay, that darker green was blooming out really nicely. This one is a much creamier and thicker polish than that dark green one, so it did not want to bloom very well, or I just got too much of it on here. But I wanted the edge of the leaves to be the lighter and kind of bloom inwards, and then the dark in the center blooming out. But what I ended up doing with this, because it didn't want to bloom very well, is I wiped some of it off, and then I just kept playing with it, brushing it in towards the middle. Well, as I'm brushing it away from the middle. I wanted it to come inward more, but not in big bunches. What I ended up with on some of these is kind of a dividing line between the middle green color and this lighter one, and I was not super happy with that part. I think I needed to brush a lot more of it off and bring it into the center farther. Well, there was a hair on there. I was trying to get it out. I was also trying to brush that darker green outwards a little, but it bloomed out so much because that polish is very thin. So as it bloomed out a lot, I lost some of it on there. Probably could have gone over it with another layer of the darker. But you can see this lighter one is just not wanting to bloom very well. Okay, we finished that. We're moving on to the next one. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think I sped this up. This or the last one. I think this is the last one I'm going to show. Now, I did go heavier with this darker green on this one and the rest of them, because it did bloom out so far. Now see, I should quit with that. That little bit I had on in the first and brushed it inwards. I just got way too much again. And obviously you're going to wipe off your ombre brush here and there to avoid getting too much of it. I think it was this one when it was done, it's like all along the edge, it was too even. Okay, we're moving on to the leaf veins now, and I'm going to use this mud gel for that. And a detailer brush. And then we are just going to follow that dark green. Well, you can hardly see it now, but for the main leaf vein. But you can see along the edge how it's kind of too, there's too much of it that didn't bloom out well enough on that lighter green. If I do these again, if I have to do these again for somebody, I will do it a little differently on that lighter green at the edge. And we got the main vein line on. We're going to go with the side veins. Now I tried to get these thin. This one is not as good as the other. This one was the first one. It's a bit thicker than I would have liked the lines to be. It seems like when I'm doing something I haven't done before, the first one usually doesn't come out very good. But subsequently, as I'm going along, they start getting better and better as I'm getting a little more practice with them. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on here. This one's going off at a different angle. I was hoping that darker green would make a kind of a shadowy, more shadowy effect around the vein, but it didn't, but it does give it a little bit more dimension. You'll see I've got too much on there for that one. And after I get done with this, getting this video done, you better believe I'm going to be backing up my computer just in case, because I can't afford for it to just completely die. All my stuff is in there and I have to have it. Plus I haven't backed up in a good while, so it's time. I'm really bad about doing that. I never remember to do it until I have some kind of a situation. They're like, oh crap, I could have lost everything. Okay, moving on. And of course my gloves have to get stuck underneath there. Now while we have a second here, I'm planning on doing my first set of character nails next time, if all goes well. Well, don't hold me to it, because it might not go too well for me getting my stuff together for it, and I might chicken out again. So if I do get onto it, I'm going to be doing Pokemon, as I've been threatening to do them for a long time. And my son is pestering me all the time. He's big into Pokemon still, even though he's in his 30s. So he's really been bugging me to get that one done. Yeah, I didn't like the end of that line, so we're going to make it a little skinnier, hopefully. The end of the leaf veins need to trail off till you can barely see them, but they still need to be there. And I can't lie, I have played my fair share of Pokemon games too. And I have my own card collection. I know. Okay, on these, since there's no dark part to follow, we're just Gonna make the leaf veins wherever. This one I decided to go straight down the middle of the leaf pretty much. Also, I'm kind of wishing I had chose a different color for the vein lines for this one. Like maybe more of a lime green instead of this kind of grayish green. But I did get some nice thin lines going on this one that turned out. The lines themselves look good, I thought. And one more. Then we'll be moving on. Well, this one I decided to go across. And there's where we are so far. We're going to cure those now. I cure them with the gel paints for 90 seconds. And now we're on the top coat. Now I'm going over these firstly with my tempered top coat just to give them a little bit more body and seal everything in really well. Oh, I forgot to say this set took me about 2 hours to do. I did manage to get it done. Well, actually, no, I didn't. It did take me 2 days, 2 afternoons to do these. Okay, was that the last one? Nope, one more. You know, I think on that side color, that lighter green, I'm thinking if I had mixed that polish and some top coat and then put it on, it already would have been thinned out. It probably would have looked better. Or if I should use much less of it than what I did use. Okay, we're going to cure those. Ta-da, curing them. Bam, we're back. Now we're putting the matte top on. And since I've used matte fairly recently, you guys know I like to do the regular top coat underneath and then do the matte. As the matte top coat seems to be softer and stuff seems to go through it, I like to put it on rather thickly so I don't get streakiness to it. And then I give it an extra long cure. Look at that, I'm stuck under there again. Now I will cure these for 2 minutes, and when I take them out, if I can tell by looking at them, or if I touch them, I can tell. Sometimes they need a little more, depending on how thickly I did get it on there. So 2 to 3 minutes is what I'm going to say for that. And we're getting there. Not too much left to go. And this last one, then we'll be ready to cure. All right, in they go for curing. Okay, moving on, we're going to have our gem glue, and we're going to use these Ladybugs. I got these, of course, from AliExpress, and I've had these for like a year now. I kind of had an idea what I wanted to do with them, but I wasn't real sure how I was going to deal with the leaves. Okay, we're just going to put a blob of glue on. We're going to smooth it out, stick these guys on there. Now, I was really kind of pleasantly surprised at how flush they fit to the nail, because not all the things that you glue on there are going to be flush. So a lot of times there's stuff sticking, edges sticking up, and things get caught, as I'm sure you guys well know. But these went on there really well and stayed down pretty flush. One thing I would have done different is I ended up, somehow I managed to get all of them facing pretty much in the same direction. Well, not that one, but that second one I did, they're mostly all going to be facing that way. I should have varied them a bit more. Now we're going to be using builder gel, and we're going to use this to do the dewdrops because I want some height to them. If you just use top coat, it tends to flatten out and spread out on you too fast. So I'm going to make my dewdrops with the builder gel. I got to be careful not to pull it off too quickly, and then I end up with a string laying across the part of the matte finish, which is not going to look good. So we're just going to put these on randomly. Now you can really see on this one the edge that I have between that lightest green and the middle green. It's too straight and smooth like that. It needs to be brushed out more, so it's not like such a uniform looking kind of line like that. Now once I get them on there, I am going to throw them in the lamp immediately and start curing them, just because I don't want it to try to spread out. I don't think it will. I mean, I think I could have got away with it, but just to be on the safe side, I didn't want it spreading on me, so I decided to cure them as soon as I got them done. I did wait like a few seconds for them to kind of smooth out, because when you're doing this thing where you're twirling it around to get it loose from the thing, and you end up with a kind of a pointy bit on there, so it needs to have a minute to, well, not a whole minute, but it needs a little bit of time for that pointy bit to like absorb into the dot and smooth out. I am going to clean off that little string that I just had, and in that goes for curing. Are we going to do more, or are we not? I think I'm going to show you one more. I don't think I showed you all of these. If I do, then it's going to be sped up, but I think this might be the last one. And after these are cured, there's going to be one more step. Come on, get off of there. I'll see how it has that kind of loopy, pointy part on the top. If you just wait a little bit, it will flatten itself into there and like absorb in and smooth itself out into a regular looking drop. Okay, now we're moving on. I've cured all those. I've also wiped them all down with a lint-free wipe and alcohol to take the tacky layer off, and that took off a lot of the shine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use that same dotting tool with my top coat, and I'm just going to go over these dots of the builder gel with top coat so that I can get them nice and shiny again. And then I will cure those as I'm going along also, because I don't want my top coat running off the side, off the dots onto the nail, creating another problem for me. One thing I thought was kind of cool, and you have to see the finished ones to tell. Oh, I guess we're done. Okay. Those are all cured and we're finished. But if you look at the dots that are on stuff, it looks like they get magnified as you were looking through a real water drop. Anyway, if you like them, please give me a like. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I upload a new video every Saturday, provided my computer stays working. Okay, that's all for this week. Bye-bye.